of India's most wanted terrorists, Arsh Dalla, has been arrested and charged in connection with the recent alleged shooting in Ontario, Canada. Canada Police has framed 11 charges against Arsh Dalla, including possession of unauthorized weapons and possession of prohibited firearms with ammunition. India has asked to extradite Arsh Dalla and issue a red corner notice in 2023. The big question is now, will Trudeau extradite Arsh Dalla? RP Singh, National Spokesperson BJP, is joining us live. RP Singh, what do you make of this big development that has taken place in Canada? RP Singh, can you hear me? Okay, I think we're having some technical trouble there with RP Singh's connection, but also with us now is Sipal Singh, former IGP Punjab. Major General Shashi Asthana, defence expert, is also joining us now live. Professor Madhav Nalapat, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, is live with us. Sumit Peer, political commentator, is joining us live now. Sumit, much delayed, but finally it has happened. Arsh Dalla has been arrested. What do you make of this development?
Thank you very much for having me on your show, Uday, but I'm not very sure how long he will be in the arrest. Now, this is a proof that Canada has been abetting terrorists. This is a proof that these terrorists are there. This is a proof what happened with Niger was warfare, this gang war, and live ammunitions and bullets fired. That is what India has been telling. They are dreaded terrorists who we are harboring on your soil. The point is proved. They might be from Indian origin or all, but today I don't know is his passport Canadian or not. The proof here is that Canada is, after Pakistan, Canada is the biggest perpetrator of international terrorism. They are harboring international terrorists. They are only disguised as Indians, but 99% of these terrorists are Canadian citizens, and Arsh Dalla is one of them. Now, if his hands were so clean, if Niger's organization was so clean, and remember, he replaces Niger. Niger is the terrorist who got killed, and now when the Canadian police caught him, there was an exchange of gunfire, and there was, bullets were exchanged. So if they are so nice and lovely people, why were the bullets exchanged? Why was there a gunfire? And let's not forget, a couple of days back, the biggest drug haul in the world was again found in British Columbia. Again, there was one more gentleman who was involved in this, Randhawa, Gaganpreet Singh Randhawa. So again, there are links with ISI, there are links with, with drug syndicates, there international smuggling, drug, mafia, flesh trade. They are into all kinds of murky businesses with the help and support of ISI and the Canadian government. This proves the point. So this is exactly what India has been saying. This is exactly the point we've been trying to make. When we say this, they accuse of us being racial hatred, doing extrajudicial killings and all. Now, if that was not true, why is the replacement of Niger caught by Canadian police with a gunfire? Why did he exchange gun firing with the police? Now, these are some of the important points what will happen, but I believe they have the patronage of Canadian government. Very soon he will be let off, or he will be told he has disappeared. And let's not forget, Uday, the policeman who was earlier suspended for pro-Khalistani activities is reinstated back into the police. So if you look at this all thing, Uday, this is all eyewash. Unfortunately, the Canadian government has turned a blind eye. And this man is a hardcore terrorist that Canada knows. We knows, everybody in the world knows now. And let's not forget, Khalistan Tiger Force is the organization of the people who assassinated our then Chief Minister, Mr. Biren Singh Ji, Swargi Biren Singh Ji. So they are the people who killed a Chief Minister. And these are people running now drug syndicates, international extortion, mafia, drugs pretty much everywhere. So what we were telling them, or what Hillary Clinton used to tell them, if you breed snakes in your backyard, they're not only going to bite your neighbors, they're going to bite you. Now drugs are there, gun battle is there, mafia is there, extortion is there, murder is there, killing is there. All kinds of illicit activities are today carried by these terrorists who are 99.99% Canadian citizens holding Canadian passports and citizenship. Now, will Canada answer this new breed and new flair of Canadian terrorism? We knew Pakistani terrorists, but now the world has to see Canadian terrorists. This is the reality of it, Uday.
All right. Stay with us. In fact, let me quickly rope in Sipal Singh as well now on the broadcast. Sipal Singh, this, of course, is a big development now. What happens next is the big question. Sipal Singh, can you hear me? Okay, I think we've lost his connection. Professor Madhav Nalapat, why don't you come in here? It's, of course, a big development now, but the big question, will extradition take place of Arsh Dalla to Canada as sought by the Indian government for quite a while now?
I would be very happy if that were to happen, Uday, but I'd be very surprised if it were to happen, for a simple reason that Mr. Dalla knows a lot. about the way the elements within the Canadian police and possibly other departments of the Canadian government have been functioning closely with him and basically, in a way, facilitating his movement and facilitating the activities that he is guilty of, which is fomenting terror, violence, and even several assassinations in India. Now, I doubt, therefore, that there will be an extradition. I mean, I think, if I'm not mistaken, David Coleman Headley, well, it's been a long time, quite frankly. Mr. Headley is a proven terrorist, but, what can we say? The fact of the matter is that in any case, Justin Trudeau has been forced to make an arrest because the volume of information about the nature of these gangsters, their narcotics trade, their hawala rackets, including how they operate that racket to send illicit money into India. Well, all that is now on record. And I would just like to end by repeating what I said right from the start. It's the Indian government should give dossiers on all these activities, whatever it is collected, information is collected to all the G7 members. Let them know what Canada is doing. Let them know what is happening inside Canada. Not only a G7, but all NATO members also should be given the similar dossier. I think it's important to name and shame those people in parts of the G7 and NATO who are basically shaming the organization by doing activities or by condoning activities that are completely opposed to the charters of these organizations. Thank you, Uday.
Yes, stay with us. In fact, let me quickly draw in now Major General Shashi Asthana. Major General Shashi Asthana, this is certainly a big development now that has taken place, but what is the procedure ahead now for us to extradite him, to bring him back to India?
See, the request for extradition has already been given. There is already a red corner notice on him. But I totally agree with Professor Madhav Nalapad that we'll be happy if he is extradited, but we'll be surprised if it happens. That's number one. Number two, I think Sumit had described Canada very well, and Professor has added on to that. Now let me recall that earlier when we used to have certain fiction movies where a corrupt politician has got a cocktail of terrorists and criminals, and with their support, he is governing a country. Now, this has actually been proven in Canada. Because if I have to summarize this change in one line, it is Pakistanization of Canada, which is happening under Trudeau. And in this exercise, what has happened is that they used this machinery. This machinery is a very useful machinery for the corrupt politicians, wherein you have the terrorists, you have the criminals, you also have the international nexus, and that creates money. Then when you want to raise a cause and when you want to raise more money, then obviously you take the religious line. So some of the people can get, shall I say, attracted or can be befooled also, and may make some contribution to the cause, which actually does not exist. Now, as far as the credentials are concerned, they are very well known. If there are 58 narco cases against this man, the way he moved out of India is on fake passport, with the help of some policemen. Similarly, this kind of documentation is available to Canadian government. The same was the case with Niger. They didn't give him citizenship for quite long because of all the documentation and all other things which he did wrong. Then thereafter, but then it suited a particular political narrative, and that's why they used it. Similarly, some of the countries in the West strategically want certain leverages against the friends and foes alike. that is both the countries, whether it is adversaries or the friends, to be pulled out whenever they want. So this also is something called as strategic leverages, because they feel that they can unnecessarily, like Niger's case, it's a case of unnecessarily troubling India when everything is going hunky-dory. So apparently, as far as the actions are concerned, as the question which you asked, extradition, I think the procedures have already been done. I don't think they will certainly go. Their narrative will be that we will examine all these things and see the reliability of the case, and thereafter they will either leave him, or he will be missing, or something like that will happen. And secondly, as far as we are concerned, I think we need to flag it at every forum, number one. Number two, I think we have to have a social media campaign. We need to tell all the secular Sikhs and Hindus in Canada to unite and counter this so-called Khalistan narrative, because this narrative doesn't have traction in India. But if Canada doesn't control it, there will be a Khalistan in Canada, and that Khalistan will be perhaps a territory, or I would say a group which is going to take care of all the criminal activities, and that will be a headache for everybody, all the Canadians as well. The fact that somebody from Canada did approach Elon Musk with a request that kindly remove this guy Trudeau, and Elon Musk said that he will get removed during his own time, indicates as to what is actually happening in Canada. So I'll rest my case here.
Absolutely. Let me go back to Sipal Singh now, who I was trying to bring in earlier. Sipal Singh, if you're able to hear me now, I was trying to bring you in here earlier on this big development. What do you make of it, and the serious charges that Arsh Dalla faces as well, and now our battle to get him extradited?
You're asking me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I have heard, to the extent I could, both the speakers. We are going to I feel that's a very far-fetched thing, that Canada will become one of the sort of a place where only Khalistan flag will be flown and all. It's going too far at this stage. But absolutely correct, as well as the Bazari events are concerned. Dala is caught in a shooting incident and is brought. Ultimately, they said that shooting incident happened with one of my rivals, and he alleges against Mishnari. What is the injury? The injury is on his left bicep only. There's no fatal injury. There's no such thing which can cause any fatality or something. The bicep, and his aide is there, who is with him, which means that there was some tamasha whereby the aide shot at, and they wanted to prove that he has been shot. Ultimately, now, after all these things were revealed, that there was no rival who shot at him, they were the two people. It's a very bizarre sort of thing that they post themselves that we have been there and somebody shot us, and ultimately go to the hospital and want to get a bail. Before the bail is granted, the government of India puts across to the government of Canada that he is one of the known terrorists. He is one of known Khalistani terrorists. He would like to have it. Now the process has started. Now he has been asked to come to the other jail, and where they like to prove whether he is a Khalistani terrorist or not a Khalistani terrorist. That is an attack done by each other to prove that they have been attacked by somebody else or something else. Now the main point in this case is that to some extent the Canadian allegation against India, to a not to great extent, gets refuted by this very incident. Because it is reported that this particular person is a very close aide, was a very close aide of Niger. Now here you are, another person who was very close to Niger is caught in a incident, which is just a fake sort of incident. Now, everything will rest, sir, on the investigations. Now, as far as extradition is concerned, yes, well and good, we have requested for extradition. Extradition takes its own time. There are very many processes through which we have to go through to get a person extradited. As far as the red corner notice is concerned, there is no legal significance. You must be knowing that red corner notice by the Interpol is only a sort of, Interpol was created only for sort of, a compromise community that we should help each other, the police organization should help each other. So the Interpol, the red corner notice has no legal sanctity. This I am telling you. The red corner has absolutely no legal sanctity. The sanctity only extradition. The extradition takes time. Now the process is that what is the investigation? The question is whether Canada wants to prove in subsequent investigations that no, Niger was somehow or other, as they allege, he was attacked by some people, allegedly provided by the government authorities. A. B. No. It is proved that he was a terrorist, he was being aided by the terrorists, and these people tell in the investigation, yes, something is there, and thereby our stand is vindicated. Yes, he was a terrorist and he was killed by some other terrorists. We were not involved. So this is the total position as far as the case is concerned. Now, as far as the concept of their relationship is concerned, I am very sorry to say that there have been absolutely a row of one after other, and our relationship with Canada have gone very slow. I definitely agree with the two other gentlemen that in this case, we should not bow down as it is, certainly not bow down, but the relationship has to be developed in a manner as to prove them wrong. In fact, to some extent, the Canadian Prime Minister in the recent few days back has agreed. Yes, there can be, the very fact that this terrorist is there, he agrees that there are some terrorists around. The very fact that there are terrorists around in Canada proves that we are right, the terrorists are operating there and you are giving a fillip to these terrorists. So to some extent, he is mellowed down, the Canadian Prime Minister. Now the question is how far we go, how far they come, is a question of investigation. Our investigation will rest that yes, man is an aid, a very strong aid of Niger. He is also acting in terrorist activities. We have already, NIA has already set a case for his extradition. And in view of that, it proves that our part is proved that yes, the terrorist activities by Pakistani elements are going on in Canada, and Canada government should try to stop it. But if it is prolonged and is proved no, somehow in the investigation they say no, I had come here because Niger had, again, if he states that Niger was attacked by some people who were conniving with the government of India, in that case, it goes against us. So we have to watch very carefully as to how the investigation progresses as far as Dala is concerned. This is my submission, sir, as a police officer. On the whole, the picture as it stands.
Yes. Okay. Let me, in fact, quickly take that back across to Professor Madhav Nalapath as well. Professor Madhav Nalapath, now, this is, of course, an opportunity for Canada to try and mend ties if they want to. If they are serious about tackling extremism, which many are doubting they are, perhaps they can try and move forward with this extradition.
Look, first of all, it's quite correct that India is not like the UK, Japan, Germany, France or countries that reflexively follow the lead given by the US. We did not do it in the case of the Russia-Ukraine war, certainly not. And we have our own standing, our own policies, and they are relevant very significantly where the protection of the Indo-Pacific is concerned. At the same time, we have been clearly in partnership with the United States in particular, through the Quad, Australia as well, Japan as well, and we have been in partnership on matters of security without actually saying so. But the reality of the situation is that what our discussant from Canada has correctly said, if the Canadian authorities if they are being basically instructed by their political masters to falsely implicate the government of India. And now they are desperately searching for real information or for some witnesses or whatever it is. They're desperately searching for that. And if these people, become quote unquote approvers in a fake case, I mean, then they will use that testimony to show, oh yes, India is guilty. When the fact of the matter is, India will never be guilty of this kind of an activity. India would collect information, give that information, but not take this kind of action. So it all depends on the mindset of the Canadian authorities. And if the mindset is to get these people to tell an untruth and implicate India, well, then the point is that also needs to be exposed in course of time. Justin Trudeau is moving this much because he's worried about the impact of Trump on the election, and he's also very worried about his China connections because several of the people in the Trump team are what is called the China hawks. They are Chinese hawks where the CCP is concerned, and many of them are very friendly towards a good relationship with India, and they want to cultivate that. So Trudeau must be quite nervous because he favors the opposite. Very pitiable relations with India, which will go to the benefit of China, and he's certainly not a China hawk. He's now become an India hawk. He's become a hawk against the largest democracy in the world. It's quite absurd, Uday, if it were not so, frankly, ridiculous. Thank you.
Okay, let me go across now to Sumit Peer as well. Sumit, now the fact, of course, is that these are some very serious charges that this individual faces. Just detail our viewers a bit. What are the charges, of course, that he faces in Canada now, but also more seriously in India?
Look, Uday, there's a long list of charges. First of all, the organization fundamentally has roots with the organization which killed B.N. Singh Ji, our serving Chief Minister of Punjab. That's one. Then your murder, your extortion, your drugs, your illegal arms, money laundering, you have this extortions, you have this international smuggling, you have networked with ISI, you have done joint operations with Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed. So there are 10 major operations, and there are some alleged killings and all which happened in India. He is responsible. In India and in Canada, there is a shootout, there is abetting terror, and then there is again extortion and all those things which are happening in Canada. And let's not forget, Gaganpreet Singh Randhawa must not be running the biggest lab which was producing, I'll tell you how much. So much of crystal meth, according to the Canadian police, is good enough to kill every Canadian 2 times. 100 million doses of fentanyl. 100 million doses of fentanyl, good enough to kill every Canadian 2 times. There are tons of crystal meth which is found there, and one sag of crystal meth is around $25 million in today's market. Not only that, then you have they have 25 kilograms of cocaine. Not only that, you have 89 guns, you have 70 automatic pistols, you have 20 AR-72 assault rifles, the same which was used in attack against Prime Minister Donald Trump. Then you have semi-automatic and automatic machine guns loaded. You have body armors, you have explosives. Now, do you think this all was done for nothing? I think this all K elements, what they use, the word that Khalistan used, this is a facade. So believe me, there are a lot of people which are talking right now today. You need to be a Punjabi from Pakistan. They will just make you wear a turban, make you have a little bit of beard. And anyway, you can speak in Punjabi. We will disguise you as a Sikh. We'll make you reach Canada. And in Canada, you do the business for ISI. Disguised as a Sikh. You don't follow the Sikh faith. So these are the people. Eventually, you take a Canadian passport. You infiltrate the government. So ISI has managed to infiltrate the Canadian governments. China has managed to do it. And there is one more scam which is running in Canada, Uday. You can go to a madrasa, or me, or anybody. Well, when you pass your 12th class, so far what we do here, you get 99% marks from a madrasa, a mark sheet. What you go to Canadian university, you get scholarship there. When you get the scholarship there, you don't have to pay anything for your graduation. You get a bachelor's degree, which is very valuable in the Western world. Then you start working for the government. You work for the immigration, you work for law enforcement, you work for police, you work for social welfare, you work for all the kinds and types of government departments. So this is how, the government apparatus of Canada has been infiltrated by a systematic erosion which the Canadian government led to do. So they have people in the government. You have that policeman who was Khalistani. Now you have these people whom they might be of Indian origin, but they are not Indian citizens today. Sir, they are not Indian citizens today. The world has to see a new breed of Canadian terrorists. I'll not call Arsh Dalla Indian terrorists or Niger. They are both Canadian nationals as to the best of my knowledge. So they are Canadian terrorists, and Canada is harboring international terror. And then when they don't know when the shit has hit the roof, what are they trying to tell us? Oh, it's India who is doing this, India who is doing this. You are not admitting your blatant failures. You as a government,
Yes.
you as a republic have failed.
Absolutely.
You have failed to control
All right,
terror.
point taken. We've run out of time. We're going to have to leave it at that. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us.
For more such videos, subscribe to the Newsx YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.